Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I'd voice the radio. So today we need to take a look at some new cards that have gone and been revealed from Stella Crown, the upcoming expansion of the Pokemon TCG, the one that won't be legal for Worlds. As a quick reminder, we have coming up in a couple of weeks' time the release of Shrouded Fable, which will be legal for the World Championships. It becomes legal on day one of the World Championships. We also then have Stella Crown, but Stella Crown isn't coming out till September. Yes, we are kind of in the reveal cycle for both at the moment, but hopefully I'm able to make it nice and clear which one we need to actually be talking about today. Today, we need to be talking about Stella Crown, and I tell you what, let's start off with Dashbun EX, the special illustration rare thereof, because this has phenomenal artwork, and I think this is the kind of thing we should be having a chat about. Plus, it's gone and been officially revealed. Feels like it would be rude if we didn't go and have a little bit of a chat about it. Now, in terms of the artwork, I've made this point before, but I need to make it again. Is the Dashbun enjoying the pastries, or is the Dashbun one of the pastries? Because frankly, that changes my opinion on how wholesome and lovely this artwork is. Either way, it's clearly phenomenal artwork, sitting there, taking advantage of, or being one of the baked goods. Again, not entirely sure which one, but I think we can all agree the artwork here is absolutely stunning. But if the artwork is stunning, what can we say about the card itself? Is the card great, or is it just a little bit underwhelming? Well, we've got a rather nice ability here that says, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may heal all damage from each of your evolution Pokemon, and if you healed any damage in this way, discard all energy from this Pokemon. It is very literally exactly Cheryl. Heals all damage, only evolution Pokemon, and you discard the energy, but only from Pokemon you healed. It's literally Cheryl. Also, I love that they printed Cheryl in battle styles, because before then, I'm willing to bet 90% of Pokemon fans or more had forgotten who Cheryl was. But the point is, Cheryl is awesome. That was a cool supporter card. This is that, but as a Pokemon. Which, it's not your supporter for the turn, that's good. It's often easier to search out Pokemon than supporters, that's good. And potential for it to be reused if you can pick the Pokemon up, that's good. But then you've got a two-prize Pokemon kind of sitting chilling on your bench. There's got to be something more to this. Well, what we've got here is 2 energy, 130 plus confusion. There is no more to this. This is very literally what it does. The attack, I mean, look, good news, it's 2 colorless energy, so it's easy to pay. You can use double turbo energy, or you can use any kind of energy acceleration you like. Paying for this is not going to be terribly difficult. That's the good news. The bad news is, and this is a fairly significant downside, I got to be honest with you, the attack's just not very good. And I do think that is a fairly significant downside. It is an interesting card. It is one that I've absolutely got my eye on, and I do think this ability is pretty good. But I also think this is better when you can combine it with something like Professor Turo, for instance, which lets you put a Pokemon card in play into your hand, for argument's sake. Because then you can just kind of go and pick it up and then potentially reuse it, get this ability multiple times during the game, and that could make a little bit of a difference. Because there's things like Penny, but Penny only works on basic Pokemon, so it is frankly not quite as good. Although it does give me an excuse to show the wonderful Okacheke artwork of Penny here. And you know what? Anytime I get a chance to show off the wonderful Okacheke artwork of Penny, that makes me a very happy boy. So that's Dashbun, wonderful artwork. We'll wait and see how good it ends up being. I'm hopeful, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm hopeful with this one. But I am also aware that I could end up being very, very wrong. Now, there have been a couple of cards that have been revealed that aren't particularly good cards, but they are important cards to have revealed. They are cards we needed to see. We are talking about Reshiram and Mewtwo. And you'll notice that both of these cards have quite a lot in common. They are legendary Pokemon, they have 130 HP, they have a retreat cost of 2, they have an attack for free energy, they do 100 or less damage, 100 for Mewtwo, 90 for Reshiram. That is not the profile of a particularly stunning card. It's fine. No, I'm lying to you, it's pretty terrible. Honestly, they're both pretty terrible. They're not fine, they're bad cards. So why am I even bothering to talk about them? Why have they gotten time in my video? Well, here's the Japanese version of the Mewtwo and the Reshiram. And one thing should stand out beautifully here, something amazing on these cards we don't have on the English versions, and that is that the Reshiram's got a little Sprigatito on the card, and the Mewtwo does have a lovely little Pikachu on the card. Because they are, in fact, cards from the Battle Academy over in Japan, which is honestly kind of cool. Although, I'll be honest with you, like, generally my favourite thing about these cards is the fact that they have the cool little Pokemon on them. And then when you take that off, they just look worse. Like, having the cool little Pokemon symbol on makes these cards a lot more fun. Taking it off makes it a lot worse. So what does this tell us? It tells us that we should be getting pretty much the whole Battle Academy in the set. Now, the other day I showed you some EXs, for instance. I showed you Melmetal, I showed you Lucario, and I showed you Greninja. And they all came from the Battle Academy. And I told you that basically the 3 of those cards together told us that any EXs that had been in the Battle Academy but not been revealed elsewhere, like the Houndstone I showed you as getting an EX collection, or an EX box for instance just a couple of days ago, I told you that all the EXs should be in. But I never really mentioned anything else about the Battle Academy because I didn't really have enough information. I could have suggested that we'd be getting all the rest of them, but the reality is we didn't have enough information one way or the other. It seemed like a bad idea to try and guess. So we didn't. We let it be. But now we've got these two, and I do think at this stage, it's pretty clear. Also, I should tell you, the Celebi that the lovely Joe Merrick showed off officially from the set is also from the Battle Academy. Again, at that point, we'd seen like one card from the Battle Academy. Now we've seen a few, and I do think at this stage it is fair to look at it and go, oh, yeah, okay, we're getting them all. I mean, good knows that there is a Hayaganosuke Nimble, which is a stunning card that I absolutely adore, so that makes me happy. The bad news is that, generally speaking, these cards are not hugely playable. Like the Cyclozar by Nurikabe here is a stunning card, and I absolutely love it. It's phenomenal, but yeah, sorry. There's a really nice Miraidon coming, and by nice, I mean HNCL has crushed the artwork. I don't mean it's actually a good card. Unfortunately, these are all, I think, uninspiring is the polite way to put it. The Chikazawa Meryl, love it. The Minamitake Froakie is a wonderful card. These ones haven't been shown off in English, that's why I'm showing you the Japanese scans. To be fair, we know the Greninja's coming, because we know the Froakie's coming. But we have now gotten to the point where I think they're coming. The Akira Agawa Bisharp is a phenomenal card that I'm absolutely in love with. There are plenty of really cool artworks here that we can look at and start getting excited. The Kawaii Koraidon, the Yukimori Meltan, this Snorlax. There's a lot of extremely cool cards coming, but my point is none of them are important from a playability standpoint. So look, we've got some cool cards coming, we've got some lovely artworks coming. We've now seen, as far as I'm concerned at least, we have now seen enough cards from the Battle Academy confirmed for this set that I am happy to just go, yeah, we're getting all of the Battle Academy, and that's cool. But it is very much a case of there's some cool artwork coming, get excited about the cool artwork. I do think it is absolutely fair for some people to suggest, as they will, that these are going to be filler cards that they'd rather not have in the set, it's hard to argue against that. Although I like them for the artwork, so it makes me happy. But there's one other card which has been revealed, which I think is absolutely worth having a chat about, and it is Drednaw. Now, what we've got here is a really fun ability, Impervious Shell, which prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon if that damage is 200 or more. Now, Drednaw's got 140 HP. So they have to do 140 to 190. Because if they do less than 140, I mean, they'll still get the damage in, but it won't KO. And if they do more than 190, then it's not actually working. That attack fails, it doesn't go through. And this makes this just a fascinating Pokemon. Like, as soon as you've taken one prize, Charizard does 210 damage, so Charizard can only attack you until they take a prize. And then as soon as they've taken a prize, you're impervious to Charizard. Will they just then attack you with Pidgeot? Obviously! They will then just attack you with Pidgeot, but then they're not one-hit KOing anymore. And these are the kind of interactions which I think are going to make Drednaw really fun. I know the reality is that most decks are going to have a way around it. Most good players will be able to navigate it. I mean, there'll be some specific decks that literally don't have an answer, and that'll be hilarious. But most of the time, you're going to have something in your deck that can at least two-hit KO. So it's probably going to be fine. I just think it's a really fun ability. The attack does 80 or 160 if they've already got damage on. So that's the thing. Drednaw itself isn't getting big one-hit KOs. So you probably don't need to be getting big one-hit KOs on it anyway. So I don't think it's going to work very often. But I do think there is absolutely potential here, and we might at some point find ourselves in a metagame full of decks that don't have an answer to something like this, and that could end up being really, really fun. For now, that's what I wanted to talk about. I've shown you a new special illustration rare. I've shown you a couple of new legendary Pokemon that aren't good, but they are important for telling us about the set. And I've shown you a really interesting new Drednaw. But now that I've done all of that, it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these cards. Tell me how excited you are for Stella Crown. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at Lawasi. That's why we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Mary Sanders Lazenby, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.